everyone. This is RAND. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call. A little late. Sorry about that. For Monday, February 17, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a time for change call this Wednesday after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to uncover the veil. Because a lot of the times what you see isn't what really is. A lot of people feel that they believe that the opposite of fear is love. And it's actually trust. And a lot of people think that fear is a bad thing, but it isn't, really. It gives us the opportunity to look at things from more than one perspective. It's not something that we want behind making any of our decisions, though. It's really, if you make a decision based on fear, it's going to be a challenge. When we talk about the space and how we view space, when we talk about, you walk into your home and it's room, how many square feet, but we have a huge misconception on it. It's like the physics on this planet is all wrong. It's completely wrong. It should be just thrown in the garbage. Because you could walk into let's just say, those sheds, they call them mini, some people turn them in mini homes, but they're just kind of like storage sheds. And you walk into one and you go, well, this is nice, but it's really small. I could put some of my stuff in it. And you walk into another one, and you go inside, and it's like a palace. How can that be? How can you look from the outside, and it looks really small, and it's not a lot of space. You go inside, and it's like a palace. Because space is sacred. It's not the object that holds the space, it's the space that's sacred. And it can reconfigure itself. But remember, it is energy. Without energy, what would there be? Nothing. What's nothing? You see, it connects. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's like how we look at our lives. Each of us have a different viewpoint of our lives. We experience certain things, and we view certain things, and we do judge certain things, and sometimes we will review our lives. Usually it's in a situation where things have happened, and we want to know why they've happened. So we contemplate, we review things, and where we believe our lives are headed. And so we get a comprehension, each of us, on how we view our lives. Now, does that mean that we know that we are the creators of our lives? I don't believe so. I believe most people don't view it from that perspective. They don't go far enough. But some of us will look at it and say, well, I've created this. It's not a bad thing. But there's some things that I would like to change. And then you pick something out that you focus on, right? And remember, you're not judging yourself. You're not hard on yourself at all. You just say, well, I'm going to change, so to speak, the landscape in my life. So first off, I'm going to focus on, to me, what is the most, let's say, what's the one thing that holds the most weight that I would like to change right now? So in the meditation, you find a comfortable place. You have no outside interference. You begin to relax into your body. You're as still as a statue, and you focus on your breath rising and falling. This way, you move yourself out of the illusion of the ego mind and into the heart mind, where you don't have distraction. See, you're completely in sync with the God that you are in the now. So all that other stuff that we all interact with, the stuff that's in the ego mind, right, isn't there. Then the cool thing is that we see that. We're aware of it. It doesn't pass us by unnoticed, so we're aware of it. And then we say to ourselves, well, okay, now, I'm in the heart mind, and what I would like to do, and what I want to do, is whatever. Whatever you've laid out, whatever it is. And you pose that's your thought, that's what you've configured, and that's what you're aware of, and you're clear with, and you send that to the universe. And you let it go. You also say to yourself, I'm going to focus on staying in a state of gratitude 24/7. That's another thing that will increase my vibrational frequencies. So I'm going to do that starting now. And you can say whatever. I'm deeply grateful for this very moment I'm in. But it's a consistency, see. A lot of people don't do it consistently. They do it on occasion, where something happens or occurs and they're very grateful, and they're grateful to have the opportunity, whatever it may be. You've heard a lot of people give speeches and stuff where they say that they're very grateful and thankful. Now, the ego mind sits there and says, you don't need to do any of that. It really does. It doesn't care to have you do that stuff. But on the other hand, when you reside in the heart mind, you're much more powerful, the heart mind is, than the ego mind. And that's where it comes in, where the heart mind, you use the heart mind to master the ego mind. See, what do? You reassure the ego mind through the heart mind. Remember, ego mind is insecure, really insecure. So you're kind of taming it, is what you're doing. It's going to become a rideable horse and not a wild horse. And after a while, it gets to the point where it's no longer standing in front of you. It has taken a back seat, and you can feel that. It doesn't mean you say, okay, well, I don't really need to use the heart mind anymore. Well, you do, and you keep using it, and you will always use it and always be in it, because the ego mind will disappear. It will find peace, and it will disappear as you do it through the heart mind, using the heart mind as the guide. And we really do. We have got to come to grips with the ego mind being no more. Because the proof positive is in front of us for eons. It's there, we see it. As watchers of this planet, we can watch everything going on. We can see it, we can feel it. And we know that it's not a negative, but it is time for it to take a back seat. What will happen? What takes place when that happens? The civilization becomes unified. Unity. And it's really ironic, since all of us are one anyway, in these bodies. We're all one. We're facets of the one. All of us gods make up the one God. And yet, we have this friction. It's been going on for, goodness gracious, I mean, eons, millions of years, if not billions, where we have this friction within ourselves, which takes away our opportunity and ability to interrelate on an intimate level with each other. Loving level. So because we have this friction within us, we push away from togetherness. At the same time, needing togetherness, we are pushing it away. Isn't that wild? And a lot of us, it's not like we do it on purpose. It's not like we're completely clear and aware of it. We just do it. What is that about? It's a fear created by the ego mind that you have a very difficult time interacting with yourself on a loving basis. So it's very difficult and discomforting to do it with anybody else. That's why. This is why I always say it's all about you. And a lot of us will not go there. We won't go there. We won't go in there because, again, what? The unknown always jar. I've had people tell me, I'm afraid to go there. I'm afraid of what I might find. Isn't that crazy? So you fear going within and finding, and finding the God that you are. Well, yeah, I don't know what's going to be there. What I might discover about me. So this motivates many of us to not go there. Instead of just surrendering and letting go and facing off with whatever it is that you've been carrying with you this lifetime and maybe many other lifetimes. And it really boils down to, it is getting to know you. Not from a ego mind perspective, but from a heart mind of gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness with you. With you. And what's really interesting, we've all, through many lifetimes, done all kinds of things. Now, none of us are as pure as the driven snow. None of us. That we would be like slugs in the mud if we were that way. That, we're all pure and we just kind of float along and we never have any challenges. And boy, you talk about being boring. Now, at first that sounds very inviting, right? But then let's just say you experience it for a while. I could guarantee you would become bored to tears. So this is why we create for ourselves certain challenges that come into our lives. And we are the creators of every smidgen of it. There's really nothing that comes in that something else brings in. It's us. And then one might say, well, what about this over here? I didn't focus or bring that in. Well, somewhere along the line, you had a thought, and that thought materialized. Could have been a fleeting thought. Could have been just one of those things where it just popped in and popped out. Because in eventuality, this civilization is going to morph into a high spiritual base of comprehension and a self-awareness that's way beyond any of us can imagine in this very now moment. We will become completely unified as a species. The friction will wane and eventually vaporize. And the friction I'm talking about is within ourselves. See, because a lot of us fight the God that we are. We don't embrace the God. We fight the God within us that we are. Again, we push away. Why? It's an unknown. A lot of us in the unknown, unless when we were little kids, we didn't have any fear of the unknown. We just went out there and had fun. But isn't it interesting how these bodies grow, right? Experience more things, interact with more people, more occurrences, situations. We kind of get, in some ways, tainted because we're influenced mostly by ego-mind influence and not heart-mind. So that's how we view things. And we're always protecting the ego. This is why we feel like we have to protect ourselves in certain situations. It's the ego we're protecting. Have you ever been, where you get somebody says something or does something and it affects you? Now, on the surface, you act like it doesn't affect you, but you know within you that it affected you. And you ask yourself, why is this affecting me? You look at it. You want to know, why is this affecting me? And most of us would just ignore it and push it aside and suffer. But then some of us pick it up and say, okay, so why is this affecting me this way? You'd be amazed what happens when we do the opposite of what we've been taught to do. And we spend a lot of time running away from things. What would happen if we turned around and met those things? Be quite interesting, wouldn't it? But this is a huge transition because nothing that you're witnessing right now is real. None of it is real. It's an illusion. But it's a good illusion because we're so used to these illusions that we embrace them as being real. So it can't, through the ego mind it gets real confusing. Through the heart mind, we just kind of kick back and we take in the whole picture. So there's a lot of people on this planet that are in the woods. They cannot see the trees or the forest through the trees because they're in the woods. Now, when you're outside the woods and you're looking at the whole forest, you can see a lot more. But when you're in it, you get lost real easy. Because your direction and where you're at and, how are you going to maneuver because it's a very thick forest. And you can't see the forest through the trees. And this is what's going on with many people on this planet. They can't see the forest through the trees. It's not a negative thing. It just means that when you're so close to something, when you have been concentrating so much on whatever it may be, okay, at this time and this now moment, you lose your cinemascope vision is what I call it. It's where you have all this wide view, but if you go in, you lose that wide view. Now it's just like a circle in front of you. And it can get real frustrating and irritating because, again, there's the ego mind. But you might decide to say, I'm just going to kick back and watch all this because I'm so just fed up with looking at it to figure it out, what's real, what's not real, what is this a lie, is this a truth, and is this going to happen, is that going to happen, Hang on. That's why we focus on ourselves. It really doesn't matter what goes on around us. Believe it or not, it doesn't. What matters the most is what you're doing with you. You see how we can get so distracted, as we have for millions of years on this planet, and what we do is we miss the target. What our intentions were do not materialize because we're so distracted with so many other things. And we choose to be distracted. So when we determine for ourselves that, I'm not going to be distracted anymore, I want to start focusing on me. I want to focus on what I want in this life. I want to focus what I want to create, the life that I want to experience. It's crucial. But you can see, some of us can see why that is a minority, because of the fact that we are so distracted by so many things on a second-to-second basis. It could be anything, and then we're over here, and then we're over here, and then we're over here. And that's not a bad thing, but you get to a place where you begin to recognize the pattern. And you start to recognize the fact that you've been doing it probably, most likely, for lifetimes. And this time you've decided not to. Right? You've decided not to focus on all this outside of you and start focusing on what's inside of you. If you really want to change the direction in this very now moment of your life, that's what you choose to do. You focus on who and what you are, what's inside of you, and you'll know that it's not the body, it's not the name, it's not your possessions, it's none of that. It is the pure consciousness, the power of all powers, the highest vibrational frequency of all vibrational frequencies, pure, deep, eternal love, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence. That's what you discover when you decide to take that direction with you. And nothing outside of you really has anything or power over you unless you allow it. It isn't like in a fight. You're not fighting something. You're not in a tug of war. You just decide. You make that commitment through your heart-mind that you're just not going to go that way anymore. You're a veteran at it. You've done it for so long. And how have we stepped far enough up and into the higher frequencies? That's a question you ask yourself. It's not a judgment. It's a feeling. And if you come to the conclusion that not yet, well, that's fine. So you focus more on gratitude on a daily basis, and minute to minute, second to second, of being deeply grateful. Excuse me. And you begin to realize how magnificent your life begins to be. It's not this other stuff. We all know what that is. None of us are exempt from it. We all experience these different things. 1 minute this, 1 minute that, over here, over there. But there does come a time where we just say, stop it. I don't care to go there anymore. I'm not interested in it anymore. I'm going to step in more into light frequencies because I choose to. And that, the real ironic thing about that is that that's what we truly are, these bodies. Photonic light energy. Super high vibrational frequency. Pure, deep, eternal love, peace, contentment. We aren't wanting, having, getting anymore. Because we know whatever it may be, we can have it. This is the direction. This is how we were designed to be. Then one says, well, what happened? Well, let's see. We get so distracted, right? So we have our size shrunk down to minuscule size compared to what we were, our ancestors were. We have our genetics constantly being manipulated. We have everything about us being changed, redirected, our surroundings, everything, constantly. So we get really confused. And then on top of it, we have no memories. We don't have any memories. Oh, they come through once in a while, but not in a gusher. So what is it that will eliminate that bondage that we're all in from our past lives and from knowing who and what we are? Frequencies. Higher and higher vibrational frequencies. Deep eternal love for yourself. Happiness for yourself. Joy for yourself. It's got to be for yourself first. If it isn't for you, then it's not going to be for anyone else around you. This is why we have so much turmoil and coupling on this planet. That's why. Because we are not comfortable with ourselves and we have not discovered who and what we are. It's not a bad thing either. It's just that we haven't done it yet. And it's up to us to decide for ourselves when that's going to be. Now, some will say, well, I'll do that next lifetime, or I'll do it, later, do it later. I'm too busy with all this other stuff. And all this other stuff is just crap. Isn't it? It's fear-based. It's mongering. It isn't comfortable. It isn't tasteful. It's just bothersome. And you get to that point where you know that, and you say, I'm going this way, okay? That's where I'm going. I'm going within, and I'm going to commune with the God that I am, the pure consciousness. All my answers are there. They always have been, and I'm not going to look outside myself anymore. Been there, done that, more than once. And this is it's super powerful for each and every one of us. And the interesting thing is that no one or thing is going to force you to do that. You will do it when you feel good about doing it. And you will commit fully when you decide you want to commit fully. Nobody else is going to do it for you. No church, no synagogue, none of that stuff is going to get you to finally say, it's time that I discover the God that I am in my body. It's also time for me to exercise the power that I truly am, to manifest the things I want in my life and focus on the things that I want, not what I don't want. Because if I keep focusing on the things I do not want, I will continually get the things I do not want. It's not complicated for us. It's moving ourselves into a higher vibrational frequency and habit. And then when we can move mountains, we'll know we are there. And that's something to contemplate. None of us, not one of us, does not have that ability. We all do. Everybody is at a different stage, place as they have chosen to be. Right? Some of us will incarnate again, another life. And others of us will move higher in frequencies because we chose to. See, everybody's doing their own thing. It isn't really much follow the leader, right? Like in the ego mind society. It's, okay, so what have I decided to do now? What am I going to do now? What do I want to do now? And how will I get there? See? And so you focus only on moment to moment, minute to minute, because that filters out all the other stuff that the ego mind literally floods us with nonstop. And through the heart mind, as we know, we can master the ego mind, where it becomes our servant and we're not its servant, because, man, I'm telling you, ego mind is not a good master. By far, it's not. So in the quiet time of this meditation, communicate with the God that you are. You don't have to talk or anything. Move into a state of deep eternal love. Join in meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. An easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on your breath rising and falling. We all have uncontrollable mental chatter. It is the cause of all suffering in our lives. And the moment we stop the mind for even a few minutes, a powerful peace-filled energy arises inside us. Try it and see. To become the divine observer of your mind and step back from the 60,000 plus thoughts that run through our heads each day, simply choose to become the ever-present, witnessing observer of each experience, choosing to be vigilantly aware of this ever-present observer of your mind can make the typical tragic, dramatic day transform into a harmonic symphony of joy and love. For today, devote all your energy to watching the incessant chatter happening inside your mind without buying into its drama. Doesn't matter what the mind does today. Just be a super observer and watch with amazement. If you get tangled up in some important thought, do not try to stop them, change them, or participate in them. Simply sit back and even deeper behind your mind and relax your body. You can find it extremely entertaining to simply watch, listen, and have a good laugh all day long. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night the following morning. And we will return here Tuesday, February 18, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on out there, we're in here. Open your heart. Allow the magic to flow in.